Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Now today guys, I'll be doing a requested video where I'll be solving a Java program. Now here's the question. The question goes like, write a Java program where a user enters and store the average monthly rain figures in integers for 3 towns over a year. The rows represent the month and the columns represent the towns. Calculate and print the total rainfall figures for each town and the average rainfall for each month. Use a switch statement to print out the month name according to the column subscript. Now here are the values. For example, if a column is 0, then we're gonna print January. If the column is 1, then we're gonna print February, etc. With the corresponding total alongside. Okay, now guys, they gave us the example. This is the type or a kind of an output we are expecting. And then again guys, we need another one where we're gonna print all the total rainfall in January and February, let me say for each month. So guys, without wasting time, feel free to go through the question, and then you can pause the video and go through the questions, and then once you're done you can unpause. But for now, without wasting any time, let's go to our NetBeans IDE and let's create a new Java application. Now I'll name my application rain let me say rain calculator. Guys, you can use any name as long as it makes sense, but then for now I'll go with this one. Again, I'll click finish. Now guys, we all know that before we start coding, we clean our classes. I normally clean my classes. Okay, now it's done. Now I'll remove all the comments before I start coding. I'll just like to remove all the comments. Now let me zoom in so that everyone can see. I hope everyone can see now. Then I'll space things up a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Now guys, I want to start my application, but before that, let's go back to our question and double check something. Okay, now guys, according to my understanding, now we need a two-dimensional arrays. Since they are talking about rows and columns, we need two-dimensional arrays. So now they gave us the information, because they said the rows, they represent the months, and the columns, they represent the towns. So meaning each column is going to have 12 indexes, where we're gonna store the measurements of a rain in that month, and then we're gonna do the same thing for a second town and a third town. So guys, let's go ahead and create our two-dimensional array. So now I'll leave a comment and then I'll say 2D array to store town rainfall. There we go. Then now guys, since I'm working with my main class, so everything that I declare, it needs to be static. It's static. Yep, it's static. Then now in this one, it's an integer, since I'm going to store integer values in my two-dimensional array. So I'll name my array town. Let me see, towns rain. Okay, let me just insert. Okay, it's towns rain fall. Then it's a two-dimensional array. Then I'll just declare it like that. And guys, now I want to initialize this two-dimensional array before I code anything. Now inside my main method, I'll say now this town rainfall two-dimension array now is gonna store integer values. I'll say new int. Now for my columns, I'll say now here I want the maximum number of 3, and then now in each column I'll store, so I want 12 indexes, just like that. And then again guys, since they said something about months, because we have to convert a certain number into a month. If the column is equal to 0, then we have to get a January and February and up until December. So again guys, to do that now, I can just declare a normal array, just an array. Now I want this array to be a string, or to contain string values. Then I'll call this array months. Then I'll say this one is going to be an array. Then I want to assign the months. Okay, now in the first index I want to store January. Then second index I'll say it's February. Then this one is March. Then April. Then this one is gonna be May. Then it's gonna be June. Say June. Okay, let me just go to the next line. Then here I'll say I have July. Then I wanna have August. Then I wanna have September. Then I'm gonna have October, and I have my November. Then the last one is gonna be December. There we go. Now I have a string array that contains my months from January to December. Now guys, in my main method, after initializing my town rainfall two-dimensional array, now I want to call a function. Now guys, this function is gonna take user input. Actually, let me say it's gonna take the user input as values of a rainfall for a certain town, and then I'm gonna store those values in my two-dimensional array. So now here when I want to call, I'll say I'm calling a method to capture rainfall in a certain town. So now guys, I'll call my function, let's say user input. Okay, let me just name it rainfall user input. This is my function. Now guys, let's quickly create this function. Here we are calling the function right after initializing our two-dimensional array. Now we're calling this function to capture this rainfall. Click on the hint, that light bulb, and I say create the method. There we go. Now I have the function. Now I'll say it captures monthly rainfall. There we go. Then guys, I'll just remove this statement inside this method. I don't need it. There we go. Now guys, in this function I'll need a while loop, because guys I need to leave, I have to it's while, sorry, I have to loop this function 12 times. Sorry, I have to loop this function 3 times, but then in each column I have to loop in each index. So meaning in each column I have to populate 12 values. So now I'll say now okay, now while a certain value is less than 12, I want to keep on executing what's gonna be in between this while loop. So now guys, here I need a value that's gonna control my loop. So now let's quickly declare this variable. So it's gonna be a variable. I'm gonna call it a loop controller variable. So now this one again, it has to be static, then it's an integer since I want to use this variable to increment, and then I'll name it let me name it months variable. Okay, let me say months counter. It's gonna make sense. This one is gonna make more sense, and then for now I'll just say it's at 0. Now guys, while this months counter is less than 12, I want to execute this loop, and while I'm looping through this month counter, I want to prompt the user. So I'm going to use system, sorry, it's system.out.print. Now I want to prompt the user now to enter. I'll tell you, okay, now I'll say enter. Okay, now let's see if they give us their prompting message. It says in this question, let me say right Java again, it enters and store average monthly rainfall figure. Now 3 over 10 year towns represent amounts, blah blah blah. Sorry, and now you're going to use a switch statement, saying that. Okay, so far guys, they didn't give us, sorry, I'm having a hiccup. So far guys, they didn't give us a prompting message, so I think we just have to generate our own. So now I'll say enter a average rainfall in town. So here I want to display a town, then I say plus, I'm going to use it for string concatenation. Then after that I'm going to display again, I'm gonna say okay now. Okay, now let me see rainfall for town. Let me see for town. Then here I'll display if it's town 1 or town 2 or town 3. Then I say I'll say in. Then I'll display a month. Here I'm going to display a month, and then after that I'll just go to the next line. Again I'm going to use a string concatenation, say /n. Then I'll say your option or your input. Let me say your input. There we go. So now let me just take this in the next line so that everyone can see. There we go. So that everything can fit in screen. There we go. Okay, now while our months counter variable is less than 12, I want to prompt this message. So now again guys, I'm gonna need a scanner to take a user input or to get a user input. So I'm gonna declare an object scanner. I'll say this is my object scanner to get user input. Then I'll say it's gonna be system.in. And again guys, I'm taking an integer values. So I'll say this object dot I want an integer value. I'll say dot next int. It's an integer. Then let me just add imports to my scanner object, just like that. There you go. Now guys, this value I'm getting from the user, I have to assign it into a variable. So now this variable guys, I'll just declare it as a local variable, which is gonna be let me say it's an int. Then I'll say user input. I'll call it user input. Then I'll assign it a value of 0. So now while we are looping and prompting the user to enter the value, this value is going to be assigned into this variable, simple as ABC. And then now guys, what I want to do is, now here I want to display a town. Now guys, again I'm going to need another variable that will display a town. So now this one is going to display a month. So now again for town, I'll say now I'll declare another variable. It's an integer. Let me just copy that and I'll paste it over here. Then I'll say town number. and now again I'll assign the value of 0, and again now I'll say now here I want to figure out the number of town, just like that. Then I'll say plus for string concatenation, and again guys I say again I want to display a month here, and then guys this one, since it returns a value which is going to be a number that we are going to increment as long as it's less than 12. So now, meaning after getting this input, I want to increment this number by 1. Okay guys, you can use this variable and then say plus plus, like that, still gonna increment this variable by 1, or you can say plus equals to 1, so meaning gonna add 1 each and every time we are looping these statements over here. So again guys, since this is going to return a number of a month, so I want to pass it in my word, in my prompting statement. So now again guys, here I don't want to display a plain number, but then now I want to get a number. Now since they gave us the clue, they said now if their column it returns a 0, so when I print January, if the column it returns it returns a 1, so we have to display February. Now guys, and to do that, now what I'll say is, since I don't want a plain number, now I'll just pass this variable into a method. Now let me say this method, I'll call this method let me say month display. Then I want to pass this into a method, just like that. Now let's create this month display method. Again, we're gonna click on that light bulb, the hint, then I'll say create a method. Then automatically it's gonna pass this argument for us. And again guys, let's just remove this statement inside our method. Then there we go. Then I'll say this one, it validates the month, just like that. And again guys, I'll say now, since they said we should use a switch statement, now I will switch this argument I'm getting here. I'm gonna say, okay, now I want to switch this argument, which it's a number, okay? Now I'll say now, let's say now if this month counter, I'll say case, it returns the value of a 0, then now I want to create another local variable here. I'll just say it's a string, since this method is a string, not a void. So I'll say now is a local variable, is a string. Then I'll say this one, I'll call it exact month. Then I'll say now I'll assign nothing, like that. Then I'll say now, guys, I'm doing this because I don't want these exact month variable to return a value of 9, because at the end of the day we have to return this value, sorry, this variable, or the value that is in this variable. So outside a switch statement, I'll return this variable. So now I'll say now in case if this month counter, which is the argument we are getting through this method, if it contains the value of 0, now I want to set this exact month to January, January. Then I'll break again. I'll say in case if this month counter contains the value of 1, then sorry, I don't want a semicolon over there. Yep. So now in case if this month counter contains the value of 1, what I want to do is, now this time I want to assign the value of February. Let me space things up. I want to assign the value of February, and then what I do is I break. Now guys, don't get me wrong, what I'm about to say now, don't get me wrong guys, what I'm doing here, there's nothing wrong with this statement or with this method. It's 100% correct, but I'm not going to use it because now my class is gonna have this long train. I won't understand, like it's just gonna be a rocket science. Well, why there's nothing wrong with a statement, but then I won't like it because to me it looks stupid. Though there's nothing wrong with the method, you can use it, it will work 100%. Because if we can test our application, if here we're gonna get the month. So if I can run this application, for example, I'm going to run the application. It's running. I'm waiting for something to pop. Okay, now let me stop and debug. Do I really have to stop that? Because okay, now let me just stop it and rerun it. This time I'll clean and build. Okay, it's fine. Clean and build is what you want. Just click that, click the class, and then I'll say let me clean and build. And why this run option is disabled? Oh, come on. Okay, now it came back. There we go. Okay, now let's run our application. There we go. It says enter the average rainfall for town 0 in January. Now let's say I enters a 12 to didn't say to 23, the value of 23. Now you see, now it goes to February while we are still at town 0. So guys, there's nothing wrong with our if statement. If we can continue again, we go to so far I only have how many months? It's only January and February. Yep. Guys, there's nothing wrong with this statement or with this method. You can use it, but then for me it's gonna be stupid. It's gonna have this long statement I don't like. So what I'm gonna do is, yes, in that question they require a switch statement, so you guys can use a switch statement, it will work, but I will remove it because it's gonna contain this long statements and I don't want. So to cut this thing short, what I'm gonna do is I want to say now, okay, now according to this value we are getting here, now since this value is going to return a number, so now if that number is 0, we should return January. If that number is 1, it will return February. Now according to this number we are getting through this method in this argument, now we have an array that contains our months. So now check, our January lies in index number 0, our February lies in index number 1, our March runs in index number 3. So now if we can take this array list or this array, now let me say, now I want to say, now in this statement now I want to assign the values from my array according to the number I'm getting here. Now if this number returns a 0, I'll be having a what? The value of January. If this number returns the value of 12, I'll be having a December. So guys, if you can run this application, but then now let me see if I can remove this variable over here. There's nothing wrong with that again, but then now I feel like it's useless to have that variable, whereas I can just pass this thing straight here, just like that. So guys, if I can stop this from running, let me just stop it and run it again. Now check what's going to happen. Now if you see, it returns the what? The value of January, because we are our variable it contains the value of 0. So if let's say I'll just input anything, I'll say enter, it says February, and I'll say 66, it says March, then I say 23 again, it says April. Guys, it's going to count up until December as long as our months count, it increments. So this one, I think guys, is the best solution to do that. But then since they want the if statement, you can use it, there's nothing wrong with that. So let me say return the month. There we go. Now guys, let's continue. Now guys, here we are incrementing our months counter, and that's what we want. And then now guys, what we want to do is this value, we don't want to just assign it into this variable, but we want to take this value into our two-dimensional array, which is town rainfall. Then let me copy that. Now let me say, now I want to take this value, and then I want to assign it into my what? Into my two-dimensional array. Let me copy that and paste it over here. Again guys, with this one I can do this, but then I feel like it's gonna be useless. Why can't we just remove this variable over here, and then now let's take this two-dimensional array. Let me cut that. Then I'm gonna remove this. There we go. Now I'm taking this value straight to straight from the user and assign it into my two-dimensional array. Now the question is, in which column or in which row do I want to assign this value into? So guys, now what's going to determine our rows and column? Now it's going to be our what? First of all, it's going to be our month counter. Now while we are at a column, let me say in row, let me just double check, is the row or column? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, our column, it's column. So now meaning this one, sorry, our rows are gonna be represented by our what? By our month counter variable. So since this value, it increments from 0 to 12, I want to pass it to our rows. Now to our column guys, now I need a column counter. So since now guys we only have 3 towns, so now what I'll do is, again, since I don't have any variable that counts from 0 to 3, which I think we have it, it's gonna be this one. It's called town number. So now for now our town number, it starts at 0, and again I'm gonna use this town number to represent my columns. There we go. And again guys, this town number, we need to increment it. Now once we reach the value of 12 here, which is December, we need to go to a second town. So now guys, we can only exit this while loop if we have the value of 12 in our months counter. So now I want to increment this town number variable outside my while loop, and again now only if I want to increment this, only if my town number is less than 2. Then if this is less than 2, then what I'll do is I'll just increment my town number by 1. Then what I'll do is, again, I'll recall this method. I'll recall it so that I can have the updated town number. And again, once I reach this part over here, I'll say now, let me see, it's a mount counter. It counts from 0 to 12. Okay, now guys, each and every time when we recall this method, I want to go back to 0 to sorry, I want to go back to 0 in my mouse counter. No guys, to do it now, I'll just cut this loop controller variable from here, and I want to paste it here. I want to make it a local variable, so that each and every time when we recall this method, we're gonna start again at 0 and increment from 0 to 12. Now this one, I only want to increment it if we reached December in a certain town. Then what to go to a next town, but in a first month, which is January. So meaning we start populating from January to December. Each and every time we get a new month, a new town, or we move to a next town. So now guys, again, I'll say now, while my town number is less than 0, sorry, is less than 2, I want to initialize it to take it back to 0, not 1. Oh, what a mistake. I want to take it back to 0. Oh no, so guys, I'm incrementing it. Oh, mind block. Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. I want to increment this town number by 1 each and every time when we exit the loop. And now we can only increment this if our town number is less than 2. Guys, the reason why I'm saying it's less than 2, one may ask if we have 2 towns, because we are incrementing we want to increment this town number if it's less than 2. Guys, we start counting at 0. If we start counting at 0, it's going to be 0, 1, 2. Now it's going to be how many? It's going to be 3. Remember, now in programming, everything start counting at 0. Sorry, our arrays, they start counting at 0. And again, in our town number, we have the value of 0 when we start over here. So meaning we start counting at 0. Now if you can start counting from 0, it's gonna be 0, 1, 2. Now we have how many values? There will be 3. And again, and then I'll have an else statement. I'll see else statement. There we go. Now when I've reached a town 3, now I want to execute my what? So guys, meaning now I can only execute this if statement if I'm still working with town 0, town 1, or town 2. But once I'm done with town 2, I want to what? To go to my else statement. And let me just leave a comment here. I'll say if statement to increment town number. There we go. Now guys, what will happen if we are done populating our town 2? Now I want to execute my else statement. Now when I execute my else statement, I want to display the record. So from this question paper, they say now once we are done populating, we have to display the total rainfall in town 1, town 2, and town 3. Now guys, before we do that, now let's test our application. Let me stop this one from running. I want to see if our town number, it gets updated. So if you can run this application, yes, I'm working with town 0. It says in January. Now let's say in January in town 0, I'll have 1. Okay, now let me just use 1 in all the indexes so that I can move to a next town. I want to see something. Okay, now for town 0, we are at December. So if I press enter, can you see now I'm moving to what? From town 1 to, so sorry, from town 0 to town 1. And sorry guys. And again, when I move to town 1, I'm going back to January. And then again, let me say in town 1 again, I want to input the value of 2, and then I'll just say 2 in every month. And then it's gonna be November, it's gonna be December. Now again guys, can you see now it moves what? To a next town, which is town 2. From town 1 to town 2 it starts in January. Then again, for this town, I'll say I'll input 3 in every month so that I can just double check. 3 November, this is December. Then after town 2, what it does is it exits. Now the reason why it does it is because now it executes our else statement, and in our else statement we don't have anything yet. So guys, someone may say, okay, now why it start at town 0 whereas in a question it start at town 1? Guys, with this one we can simply add 1 into our variable. And guys, by doing this won't have an effect in a value that it's in this variable, because we are just simply displaying the actual value that is in this variable, but we are adding a 1 into it. We are just displaying, we are not assigning a value into this variable, but we are displaying. And again guys, if I can run this application, it won't start at town 0 but at town 1. So it's 0, 1 is still 1, and then yeah, and then oh what, let me just exit that. Yep. And then again guys, if I can just use this in the bracket, let me see something. Let me just use brackets and see if I'll just get rid of that 0. let me see, I'll run that at town 1. So guys, I wanted to remove that 0, so I just put everything into brackets. So now we are starting at town 1. So in that variable we had the value of 0, then we added 1. 0 plus 1 is going to be a 1, so we display a 1. There we go. So now guys, let's move to our else statement. So now guys, when we execute our else statement, what we want to do is we want to display what is in our two-dimensional array, the total. We want to add all the rows that are in town 1, all the rows that are in town 2, all the rows that are in town 3, since we have since we have 3 towns. And then now what I'll do is I'll say, now let me just go down. What I'll do now, when we reach or when we execute our else statement, I want to call a method or a function that will calculate those total for us. So I'll call this function calculating total rainfall. There we go. Then I'll just create this function, then I'll leave a comment. I'll say calculating rainfall for each town. There we go. Now guys, in this function, okay, let me just remove that statement. There we go. Oh, come on. There we go. Now guys, in this function, now guys, I want to display a total rainfall in each town. So meaning now in column number 1, I want to add all the rows, and again in column number 2, I want to add all the indexes. In column number 3, I want to add all the indexes. So meaning now I want the sum of all the columns. So guys, now to do that, now I will have a for loop. Now this is a for loop that will loop through our columns. So now I will say, now while I have an int I, and then it's initialized to 0, sorry, it's int I, initialize this int I to 0. Then I'll say, now while this I is less than. Now guys, since I said this one is gonna loop our columns, so I'll say this outer loop is gonna looping our columns. So, and again guys, we only have how many columns? There are 3. While this I is less than 3, I want to increment my I. There we go. Now this is gonna be a body of my outer loop. Now guys, I wanna have the inner loop that will loop through the indexes of each column. So I'll say, now again, this one, it will loop the indexes of each, of each column. Again guys, this one is going to be a for loop. I'll say it's a for. Now again, I'll have an integer. Now this time I'll use a different variable. Let me say it's a. While a is initialized to 0, I want to initialize my a to 0, and I say, now while a it's less than. Now guys, this one is going to be less than what? It's going to be while our a is less than 12. So but then guys, to do that, I'll say, now I'll take my months array, then I'll say, now while this a is less than this array's length, what I want to do is I want to increment my a. Okay, that's plus. There we go. Now guys, if you can check, my outer loop it's having a body, and then now my inner loop it won't have any body. The reason why I'm doing this, guys, now listen. Our outer loop it waits for our inner loop to count from a 0 to a last value before it increments. So now, meaning we won't increment our outer loop while we are still working in our inner loop. The outer loop, it waits for our inner loop, simple as ABC. So now what I want to do is, now I want to display the total of rainfall in each town. So again guys, to do that now, I will just declare a local variable which is going to be an integer, since I want to store an integer values. Now I want to call this one a total rainfall for each town, just like that. Now again guys, I want to take this variable, and again I'll say now in this variable I want to assign now these values guys. I'm going to get them from these two-dimensional array. Now I'll say now I want to take, while I'm still working with column I, while I'm working with column I want to get all the indexes of column I using what? An A. So I'll say end the statement with a semicolon. And then again I just want to use system.out.print. Then I'll say now I'll display this message that say in town. Now guys, our I, it represents our towns, so I'll say in town I'll display my I here, which is my town, or a town number. Then it says let's double check the output. It displays it's town 1. Then it says total rainfall. Then we'll say you want a total rainfall. Then this total rainfall, it's gonna be our total rainfall for each town, displayed over here. And again I use the plus sign for string concatenation. Then this one I'll say mm. I hope everything is perfect. Let me just double check. Yep, everything looks good so far. And again guys, after displaying this information, what I want to do is I want to leave a line. This one is giving us an error because now so far it returns nothing, so I'll just assign a value of 0 to get rid of that error. And again guys, I want to leave a line after printing each town. I'll say system.out. This time I want to print a line but nothing in it. There we go, just like that. And then guys, now what I want to do is, once we finish with this statement, when we exit this loop guys, again I want to call a second function. Now this function guys is gonna calculate a total rainfall for each month. In this function we were calculating a total rainfall for each town. So now in this function I want to calculate the total rainfall for each month. So here I'll be calling a method to calculate a total rainfall for each month. So again guys, I want to call this method out. This one I'm going to calculate rainfall for each month. There we go guys. Feel free to use any method name. This one I feel like it's too long, but it's fine. It's because guys, I want you guys to get the clue of what is happening. So now guys, let's create this function. I want to create this method, and again I want to remove the statement that it's in between the brackets. Now that I have the method, then I'll leave a comment. I'll say I just copy that comment and I'll paste it over here. I'm lazy to type. There we go. Now guys, with this one again, we need to nest our loops. So guys, before we code inside this function, guys, let's test if this first function is working, if this one is working. So let me stop this application from running. Now let me run my application. There we go. Now guys, let's say for example, before we do that guys, remember, now we want to display our month. It's our month. We want to display our month starting from 1. I'll say I plus 1. Again guys, this thing, it won't affect the value that it's in my variable I, because we are not assigning we are not assigning a value into this variable, but then we are displaying the added or the updated value, because we are adding 1 into this value we are going to get from I. So let me just run this application. I'm gonna say run it. Now again guys, let me just use 1 for town 1 in all the months. So I'll say 1 for January, 1 for February. Now guys, the total for this town, it should be 12, because we have 12 months for December. There you go. Then guys, for town 2 guys, I'll assign the value of 2 from January to December. On this month guys, we should get the value of 24, like that. And then guys, for town 3, let's just say we want to assign 3 in all the months. Anyways, so that's October, November, gonna be December. Then go guys, for town 1, for town 2, for town 3. So for rainfall for town, there we go. Rainfall for town, now look, it displays a 1, 2 and 3. Then let me check. I feel like there's an error somewhere. It's just rainfall for town I. Total rainfall is gonna be this. Okay guys, now with this one, the problem is we are just assigning. Now guys, we have to add. Oh my god, I missed this one. Now here we have to add, guys, we have to add all the indexes in each town. So for town 1, we're gonna add all the indexes, then assign them into this variable. Guys, I forgot this adding sign, this addition sign. So guys, let's rerun our application. Oh god. So for town 1 again, I'll say 1, it's gonna be 1. This time we should return the value of 12. September, October, November, December, and then it's 1. Then for town 2 is gonna be 2. There we go. August, September, October, November, December. Then for town we're still in town 2. Then for town 3, January gonna be 3. There we go. September, October, November, and for December. There we go. Now guys, it says for town 1, it says the 10 to 12. Here guys, we were supposed to get the value of 24, but it says 36. Now the reason why it does that, it's because now we keep on adding the values for town 1, and then again, instead of getting a new record, we're still adding the columns of town 2 on top of the total value of columns in town 1. So guys, to do it now, before we go to a next town, we have to restart the value that it's in this variable. So to do that guys, I'll just, before I go to a next record, I'll just assign a value of 0. I'll display and then assign a value of 0. Then so that when I go back to a low, so that when I go to a next line, instead of adding the total number of indexes for of a new row on top of the old row, I'll just simply initialize this variable to 0 so that I can start a new record. So guys, if I can run this application again, come on, again I'll say 1 1 1 1. We know the rule now for October, November, and then it'll be December. and for January gonna be 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 that's 2 August, September, October, November, and the last one is gonna be December. Now for town 3 I said it's gonna be 3 and 3 September, October, November and December. There we go. Now guys, everything it works 100%. It works 100% correct. So now guys, remember now for town 1, for all in all the indexes we have the value of 1. So it's like we're saying now 1 times 12 we're gonna have the value of what, of 12, since we have 12 months. And again now in town 2 we just assign 2 in all the indexes, so now it's like we are saying 2 times 12, which is gonna be the value of 24. Same applies to town 3. So now it makes sense, everything it works perfect. So now guys, let's move to a next function. Let's go to a next function. Now we are done with the first one. So guys, now let me just leave a line here. I saw something. I'm gonna leave a line. Now guys, when we get to this function, now we want to calculate the total rainfall in each month. So guys, to do it now, again I said we need a nested for loop, and I have an outer loop, and again I'm gonna have an inner loop for in this one again we will need a curly bracket. Now guys, what we are going to do in this function is gonna be the opposite of what we did in this function. So now I said the inner loop, guys, it represents the number of months, then the outer loop it represents the columns. So now this time around we're gonna take this outer loop and then we're gonna make it a inner loop, and then again now we're gonna take the inner loop of this function, we're gonna make it the outer loop. And again guys, remember I said the outer loop it waits for inner loop to execute before it increments. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use again let me just jump to displaying part, system.out.println. Sorry. Now in this time guys, I have to display the month and the total. So what I'm going to do now is, guys, now remember now our outer loop it represents the months. So now I'll say what? I'll say my I want to display a month using an A. And again guys, remember now my A variable it returns a number, and I want to display what? A month. And again guys, we already have the function that that returns the month according to its variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this method again. So now if this A variable so guys, I'm saying now if this A variable returns a value of 0, so now in this method a value of 0 will be what? Will return the value of January. So if this value of A contains this A variable contains, if this A variable contains the value of 1, so now this method is going to return the value of what? Of February. And again guys, if this A variable contains the value of 3, this month display methods or function is going to return the value of what? Of March. So I'm going to return I'm going to display that month, then I'll say plus using a string concatenation. Now again I want to display the total. I want to display the total of rainfall in this month, and then followed by the SI unit. So I'll say in this one I'll say mm, but then now here I want to display the total rainfall in this month. So guys, again, to calculate that now we're still going to need our two-dimensional arrays, since all the values are in this two-dimensional array. I'm going to copy that. Again, I'll say now, before I jump into displaying statement, I want to say now, or what I can do is I can just simply display these. Say, let me see, I'll cut that, then I'll just paste it here, and there we go. Then I'll say it's column and indexes. Now guys, since our I, it represents our columns, so I'll say, okay, now my I is gonna be here. Then now we want to go through in each month, so I will use my A to look through each month. Again guys, what I want to do is I want to leave a line after printing that, so I want to use system dot out dot print line. There you go. Okay guys, let me run this application. Oh guys, oh wait, I just realized something. Here we want a total, so we can't just pass these statement as it is. We can't just pass these two dimension array as it is, so we want to add the total. So to do that guys, I want to declare a local variable, then I'll call this one total rainfall, let me say each month. Then I'll say, okay, now I'll say this value is gonna be added and assigned to this variable. And then I'll say for now this variable I'll just assign a value of 0 into it. Then again, after adding it, I want to take this variable and display it. And again guys, before we go to next month, what I want to do is I want to take this variable and assign a value of 0 so that we can start a new record. So guys, if you can run this application, and then okay, before we do that, let's just leave a line before we display the statement over here. Let's just say now, when I say string concatenated, then I'll just /n. Now let's run it. There we go. So again guys, for our town one, we're gonna say 1 up until December, November, December. Now for town 2, it's gonna be 2. Then for town 3, it's gonna be 3, November, December. Now there we go. Now let's see. It says our town. So it says our town 1 total is 12. Then our town 2 total is gonna be 24. Town 3 is gonna be 36. This is 100% correct. Now guys, for our January it's gonna be 6. Our February is gonna be 6. Now from January to December it's gonna be 6 guys, because now remember, all the indexes in town 1 they contain the value of 1. All the indexes in town 2 they contain the value of 2. All the indexes in town 3 they contain the value of 3. So now if we add the rainfall in January, we're gonna have 1 plus 2, which is 3. Then it's gonna be 3 plus 3, which is 6. That's why we have the value of 6. But if we can play around with the populating part and just change the numbers, I'm sure that we're gonna get a different values here. So again guys, I don't know why I'm having this lining. I don't like. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. And then now, okay, now this time guys, let's try to use a different values. Let's see if we are going to get something. Okay, now for turn 1 in January, let's say I want to have 12, then this time I want to have let me say 40, then I want to have 44, then I have 56, then I want to have 33, then I want to have 45, let me say 21, let me say 32, 41, let me say 22, 23, 51. Then now for town 2 in January, it's 55, 44, 22, 87, 34, 77, let me say 56, 23, 23 again, 11, 45, and then 77. Now for town 3 we have 56, we have 23, we have 88, we have 9, we have 2, we have 43, we have 45, let's say we have 34, 55, 64, then we have 67, then in December see we have 77. Now there we go. Okay, now for our turn 1, a total rainfall, it says what? It says it's 430. Now in town 2 we have 550, and again in town 3 we have 565. Again in January our total rainfall says 123, 123, and then for February it's 107, for March it's gonna be 154, etc. Okay guys, now here we can leave a line before we display this number by just saying now, okay, we are going to display a month. Then again when I say now, when I string concatenate this with a line, then everything should be displayed in a new line. And then guys, I think now everything should work perfect. So guys, feel free to go through the numbers. You can just use your calculator to calculate and see if we are getting the correct values. Then you can leave a comment if you have any question, or you have any let me say anything to comment in what we did today. But then guys, without wasting any time, I don't want this video to be long, so I'll say thanks for watching, and I hope you benefit. You have benefited a lot from this video, and I'll see you in my next videos. Thank you.